New today, a man from Barnwell County sentenced to 12 years in prison for explosive-related charges. 37-year-old Michael Seabrook pled guilty to possession of the devices and to damage that happened after they detonated. Unfortunately, this is video of some of that tornado damage that we saw in Alabama. Just a lot of devastation there. People beginning to pick up the pieces today. 5 people killed that we saw in that storm yesterday, and that was in Alabama alone. And the weather was just an awful day of weather yesterday afternoon.
I ignored the warning. I shouldn't have. I'm lucky to be here.
You got in there
a closet. In a closet.
You got in the closet.
They put mixing bowls on our hand. Metal mixing bowls, yeah.
See some of the damage on the ground there in Alabama. That was Carrie Sanders doing the questioning there for NBC News. But a lot of power lines down, a lot of vehicles in the roadway there as Alabama just begins to recover from that storm.
First at 5, Governor Henry McMaster announces everybody 16 years old and older is eligible to get the vaccine starting March 31st. The governor says thanks to the hard work of everyone involved, the state is able to expand faster than they originally thought. DHEC's director says just under 2 million vaccines have been giving out. More than 1 million South Carolinians have been vaccinated. Governor Brian Kemp and Dr. Toomey were in Waycross, Georgia today. They were touring their mass vaccination site there. They chose a rural area specifically because data shows people in those regions are less likely to get vaccinated. Dr. Toomey says the biggest influence on getting the vaccine is each other.
The most influential people to get others to be vaccinated are you. Because when people see their friends and relatives being vaccinated, when they see that they're doing well, and particularly when they realize that once they're vaccinated, they'll be able to do things that they want to do.
Today, Governor Kemp and his family all got vaccinated. If you're looking to get your shot this weekend, here are a couple of clinics in Screven County. You can head to the Optum Medical Center from 9 until 1 tomorrow. Appointments are required, though. Can't just show up. We'll have the link on our website. Also, tomorrow in Aiken, you can head to Wagner Sally High School from 9 until 2 o'clock. You do not need an appointment for that clinic, but it is for only 18 years old and up.
The Charlie Norwood VA holding a veteran stand-down event at the Uptown VA this morning to offer vaccines, resources, and food to veterans dealing with homelessness. While the moratorium on evictions helped our homeless veterans, the pandemic has led to fewer options for affordable housing. Augusta's Department of Housing and Community Development tells us before the pandemic, the number of homeless veterans was actually on a steady decline, but since then they have faced a major setback.
There has not been as much new units produced during the last year as we would normally see. So the rental market has just generally been constrained and very burdened.
Fortunately, there are resources for veterans to get help like the VA, Forces United, and United Way. We're going to add that list to our website.
Some help is on the way for Georgia Public Schools. Today, the state superintendent approved nearly $4 billion in federal stimulus funds for those schools. Officials say 20% must be set aside for student learning loss. The rest of the money, that is flexible, but there are some recommendations like money for at-risk students, distance and remote learners, school meals, as well as mental and physical health resources for students.
We know there's a wage gap between men and women and a more drastic wage gap for moms and single mothers. To date, women makes 82% for every dollar a man makes, mothers 75 cents, but single moms make just 54 cents for every dollar a man makes. Experts say a lot of that happens because moms take on most of the child care responsibilities.
There is a lot of pressure on moms to be the primary parent. So we know that in 80% of separated families where the parents live separately, whether they were married or not, 80% of those, the mom is the primary custodian.
They're not getting the support that they need. And it might not just be financial supports. It also could be time to focus on perhaps returning to school, professional development, and even networking.
Financial experts say sharing the parenting load more equally could help even out those gaps even more.
A big check is going a long way for the kids of North Aiken Elementary School. Today, the school received a $1,000 check from the Aiken chapter of Lynx. The school says they plan to use the money for a new playground, a new basketball hoop, and some fun stuff for the younger kids. Something the school's principal says they really need.
Our students at North Aiken love to know that people outside of this building care about them and think about them. That makes them happy, and they'll be happier knowing they're getting a goal to play a real game of basketball.
Yeah, that can help with exercise and improving their mood. So many things. Yeah, great use of that money there. Blood centers in our area are struggling. They really are. They need to boost up their supply. Officials say there's an even greater shortage of both type O positive and type O negative blood. If you're looking to save some lives tomorrow, you can donate at HCCU Augusta from 10 until 1. On Monday, you can donate at University Hospital. That blood drive goes from 9 to 5.
Well, Augusta's getting some attention from the entertainment business. Coming up on Monday, production crews will be back downtown with the film cameras rolling. So starting Sunday night, that means road closures on Broad Street between 8th and 6th Street, and then 7th Street between Reynolds and Broad will also be shut down. There are going to be detours in place so you can get around all this, but officials are urging you just to take another route around all this if possible. And those closures will be in place until Tuesday morning. You might also hear gunfire downtown, but they say don't worry, it's just part of the movie business. So little Hollywood and downtown Augusta, and some inconveniences, but we'll just have to drive around their work for the weekend. Payday, it's always great, right? Woohoo! Coming up, we're going to give you more than 91,000 reasons why this guy had a payday he will never, ever forget. Riley?
We're keeping an eye on Doppler Max radar this afternoon for a few showers still lingering across the area. Heading later into the weekend, Sunday, we could see another round of severe storms. Much more coming up in that full forecast.
Lazy boyfriend.
Well, okay, on a scale of 1 to 91,750.
Live life comfortably.
Well, okay, on a scale of 1 to 91,750, how mad would you be if your paycheck came in the form of all pennies? For one Georgia man out of Peachtree City, that's exactly how he got it. After leaving a car dealership, the man and his boss there got into a dispute. So for that final paycheck, the boss dumps more than 500 pounds of pennies right there in the driveway, complete with a note with an explicative included. So things are not good.
Yeah, we're not going to say what it said. Plus, all the pennies, by the way, they were greased down in an oily, smelly substance. The worker was owed a little more than $900, and he hand cleaned every single penny.
It sucks. It absolutely sucks. It was about 504 pounds. That's going to be a lot of work for money I've already worked for.
Earned that money once, right? The Department of Labor says technically there's nothing wrong with paying someone in pennies. The boss says all that matters is his guy got paid. But I don't think he's going to be using that boss as a reference anytime soon going forward.
No.
Wow.
It's like a senior prank in high school. I mean, these are adult men in the business world, right?
Yeah.
Just double checking.
And not just pennies, but oiled down pennies with some, I don't know, transmission fluid or something.
Yeah.
Nasty stuff.
Not cool. There's more to this story. I think the key to it is the dispute.
Yeah.
I wonder if the punishment fits the crime.
Well, you usually see it with like people paying speeding tickets
Right.
or anything like that, and that's always
Here it
funny.
is. Take it in pennies.
For paying an employee that's crazy.
Yeah, he's working again.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess we'll leave that business anonymous for
Yeah,
now. Sure. Yeah. Otherwise, we are tracking high temperatures back close to 70 by next Monday.
Thanks so much, Riley. You know, in this time of technology, a lot of people have an Apple Watch or some other kind of smartwatch tracking their every step.
Oh, yes, something is always watching us, right? Maybe it's even tracking your heart rate. But a new fitness band says they can track your sleep performance, like how intense your workouts are, even how much you have recovered. Liz McLaughlin takes us to the weight room.
In a crowded and competitive fitness wearables market, the Whoop band has an enthusiastic following.
We pulled some of the most interesting insights from professional athletes.
Garnering buzz through its weekly podcast and notable user base, including NFL star Patrick Mahomes, pro golfer Justin Thomas, and Olympian Kate Courtney.
Whoop is a wearable technology that's designed to change behavior and improve health. It's everything from hardware, so you can see this small sensor on my wrist, to software and analytics.
An accelerometer tracks heart rate and other metrics. But unlike bands from Fitbit, Apple, Amazon, and others, Whoop doesn't count steps, instead logging sleep, recovery, and strain.
Strain is a measurement of cardiovascular load, so we're looking at elevated heart rate for periods of time and calculating strain as a result.
Users get the tracker for free. with a monthly subscription of $18 to $30. A bigger long-term cost than competitors, but one that Whoop user and data scientist Jessica Dunn says has been worth it.
It is an eye-opening experience.
Over the past year, she's used analysis reports and daily coaching in the app to make behavioral changes, improve her sleep, and adjust her workouts.
I wake up and this recovery is calculated for me. You know what days you should be pulling back and what days you should be pushing a little bit more.
Pros to everyday consumers, making small changes to optimize performance. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
I don't have the smartwatch. The closest I come to that is a Nike app that tracks my running, which I really like. But how about you?
I do, and it reminds me to stand up constantly. I will get a reminder several during this newscast that I need to stand up. So maybe I should just start standing up. I'll just stand up by the desk.
Is that when people say I need to complete the circle? And don't you have a little circle you're trying to
you have a circle of standing, of just movement calories, and then exercise calories.
All right. Well, if you pop
And
up
my
and start
rings are
walking.
very far behind, especially for a Friday. They're
If
embarrassing.
you start looping the studio, we'll know what you're up to.
Got it.
Complete the circle.
There we go.
The smartwatches, they're here.
Coming up, we're taking you out to Eudora Farms for a sneak peek at some exciting new additions you and your family are going to love.
Stepping into health.
But first, a traffic alert. If you're heading out the door, you're taking a live look at the state line. Lanes slow moving here on I-20 West after an accident. Now, we do know 2 cars were involved. There are injuries reported. We'll keep an eye on this and keep you updated, but you can see slow going there.
It's been that way for a while. The accident itself was really at the Washington Road overpass on I-20. So as we said, it's backed up to the state line. Westbound on I-20 is just creeping along right now on a Friday afternoon. South Carolina following suit now, expanding its vaccine rollout.
Right, we just saw Georgia open up eligibility to everyone 16 and older yesterday. Well, now all South Carolinians 16 and older can do the same thing. This starts Wednesday, March the 31st.
With millions more people signing up to get shots on both sides of the river, News 12's Zana Halliburton is on your side right now with the best ways you can snag your appointment.
That's right, Richard. We know getting a vaccine appointment can be stressful, and sometimes appointments are gone in a blink of an eye. On the Georgia side, your best bet and the most convenient option is signing up with AU Health here. Going to augustahealth.org/vaccine will take you straight to this page showing a list of their current clinics. You can see when a location is full, and you can see if it's registered, just like tomorrow's on Washington Road. But if you see the word registered, that does mean appointments are still available, like you see down here. Outside of AU Health, Georgians can sign up for shots at this mass vaccination site in Washington County. That's the state-run site in Sandersville at the Word of Life Church. It's open Tuesday through Saturday from 8 in the morning till 5 o'clock. You can register and see other sites around the state at myvaccinegeorgia.com. Another resource for those of you in the Palmetto State is DHEC's Vaccine Locator. You can plug in your zip code, and the closest clinics to you will populate like this right here. It gives you the location, how to sign up, and even includes which vaccine is being offered.
And that is news you can use. I know a lot of people appreciate that, Zana. Thanks so much. Did you hear that? We're continuing to track storms across the southeast, and that was a close hit yesterday. A massive lightning strike caught on a camera there to home from someone's Nest camera over on 4th and Telfair Street, right there in downtown Augusta. Just like last week, we seem to have dodged the brunt of these storms, but let's check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hill to see where things stand right now. Riley, how's it going out there?
Much better, potentially some more storms by Sunday in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Riley. New developments tonight in a Burke County murder case that's nearly 3 months old. 2 suspects are now behind bars charged in the murder of Brian Carswell. That is the brother of Waynesboro Mayor Gregory Carswell Jr. Here's a look at those suspects, Tommy Tennyson and Darius Savage. They're accused of killing Carswell, who was found shot dead just outside of Waynesboro back January 6th. Both face murder, armed robbery, kidnapping, and weapons charges.
Reaction continues pouring in again. Columbia County now set to have its own judicial circuit after being part of the Augusta Circuit for more than 150 years.
And this change did not come easy. It actually came with a lot of debate, with some saying it was time for Columbia County to stand on its own, others saying they wanted to preserve a long-standing collaboration. Our Celeste Springer joins us live from outside the Columbia County Courthouse. And Celeste, where does everyone go from here? Well, it all goes into effect July 1st. Columbia County will continue to hold court here at the Justice Center, and Governor Kemp is set to pick the next district attorney residing over the circuit. For right now, Columbia County will have that DA, but come 2022, voters will be able to make their voices heard and vote for their next DA. As of right now, Judges Paget, Jolly, and Blanchard all live in Columbia County, so they'll be the three judges sitting on the circuit here. But the moving process brings into question if our already backlogged court system could see further delays. When COVID hit, we reported 3,500 criminal cases and 21,000 civil cases were put on hold. These numbers only multiplied during the pandemic. We checked back in with one of the victims of Georgia Line of Pools. More than 2 years ago, the I-Team exposed a pattern of problems with the owners Bruce and Heather Alford. But it wasn't until this year that they were indicted on 27 felony counts. One alleged victim says she supports the splitting of the circuit, but has concerns if it could delay her day in court even longer, after she's already been waiting for years.
Trials have to be set and things have to move forward, but how long, what is the time frame as far as how long is this going to take? Are we going to be sitting here another 3 years, which will then be 6 years?
And I apologize, we weren't able to get that full story online for you right now, but I will say I did speak to Judge Carl Brown, who was an advocate against getting rid of the circuit. He said he foresees that regardless of any delays, both parties, both circuits will be working together to make sure everything is done quickly and done with as much justice as possible. I also spoke to Representative Newton, who backed the splitting. He told me the same thing. He says it's up to the DA that's appointed how things go down, but he foresees that everything will be handled as quickly as possible. In Columbia County, I'm Celeste Springer on your side. All right, thanks for that, Celeste. Untangling all of this marriage that has been here for so many years, 120 years or so, is going to take some time. Thanks for that update.
Also today, the Charlie Norwood VA held its annual Veteran Stand Down event for our local vets experiencing homelessness or housing instability.
They gave out food, cold weather gear, and even some COVID vaccines to nearly 60 veterans. News 12 Sydney Heiberger was there, and she tells us while this is an annual event, this means more this year than ever before.
Well, homelessness in Augusta, particularly among veterans, has been an issue the city has been fighting for years. And actually, prior to the pandemic, those numbers were on the decline. But then, of course, COVID hit, and the issue got a little more complicated.
I've slept in the fields when I was in the military. So what's wrong with being able to sleep out here now?
Richard Scales used to work at the Charlie Norwood VA. He's given out food and resources to homeless vets himself. But today, he's the one receiving the help.
I was building my own house, a house that I owned in Florida, and then I couldn't even afford to live in it.
And he's not alone. Before the pandemic, Augusta's Department of Housing and Community Development saw a decline in local homeless veterans. In January 2020, they counted 42. But they say the pandemic has totally disrupted that trend. 72 veterans requested housing or rental assistance from the department in 2020. That doesn't even include the number of vets who requested resources from other places like the VA, United Way, or Forces United.
And that's a trend that we see across the board, but it's particularly troubling given that we were making good progress.
Daniel Evans says a lack of affordable housing units during this high-need time is one of the biggest reasons for the increase. But VA Assistant Chief of Social Work Victoria Wilson says the evictions moratorium has helped with the number of vets on the street.
To think about our veterans who have already served through wartime and now some of them that are homeless, it's heartbreaking.
It's yet another tragic sign of the times.
It is what it is. I mean, you see the vets lined up here?
In Augusta, Sydney Heiberger on your side.
So if you or someone you know is faced with homelessness, veteran or otherwise, we have a list of resources attached to this story on the website and the WRDW app. Riley?
Coming up in the full force.
Serving you.
86 days. That's how long one local man spent in the hospital fighting COVID-19.
His doctors say it is an absolute miracle he's alive. Tonight, News 12's Brady Trapnell is sharing his story of survival.
It's just a haunting feeling, that is that going to be the last time I see him?
Doctors diagnosed Kiko Castro with COVID-19.
I didn't know how bad it was.
On September 30th.
I remember leaving the house else after that.
For 6 weeks.
One of my doctors told me they almost lost me twice.
No memories. 11 weeks on a ventilator.
Nightmares, bad dreams.
13 weeks without a word spoken. 14 weeks without the strength to move.
I have the best dad.
Angela Stroman says her father came to the U.S. from Chile in 1972, the youngest of 15 kids.
Definitely puts things in perspective when you feel like your time is going to be cut short.
But each moment in time, for all 108 days, Angela worked to give her dad hope, sending these posters, notes, and pictures to his room.
I knew I was going to be okay because I felt that God was behind me the whole time.
His 67th birthday, 40th wedding anniversary, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Nearly 30% of his year spent fighting, but not alone.
They gave me hope.
He had his fan club of nurses, their names written on this hat, and his faith.
I feel like the God gave me a second chance to do better, you know.
We are headed out of here.
That second chance did come, and although he still works to strengthen his lungs, he now walks 3 miles a day. But his hoarse voice and scars remain.
They're there to remind us of what we've been through.
And may Kiko's journey be a reminder to us.
God is always there for us.
His story could have gone a different direction, and instead it was a very hopeful one.
Reporting in North Augusta,
There's still hope.
Brady Troutnell on your side.
86 days and the family never gave up on him. What a fight that is. Kiko says he just wants to remind you to take the virus seriously. He says it is not gone yet.
No, he also wants to encourage you. Don't live for yourself. Live for those around you. Some good words from someone, wow, who has been through something. So many people affected by COVID. Taking you outside now for a live look at Columbia County's Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. This is happening at the amphitheater behind the Evans Library. They've got free food and music until 9 o'clock tonight. All right, Riley, how is the weather looking for this? People look as though they're distancing, so that's a good thing.
I think weather-wise, they should be mostly dry. I cannot rule out that a quick little shower does pass on by and brings them a few raindrops. Definitely not ruling that out. But overall, just not anticipating a huge rain threat this evening for places like Evans. This is actually looking westbound down I-20. This is a little line of showers that is trying to work its way towards Evans. So let's go straight to radar.